right, so we are live. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well. So today we're going to be having another bit of a spec video. As you can see, the last week has been kind of a wild week for speculation, and it continues to kind of spill over into the side. So we're going to be talking about two main books. Really, we're going to be talking about mostly Blue Beetle, just because I've been keeping up with that book since for a while now. There's a whole playlist. You guys can go check it out. Um, just a speculation for probably a couple of years now that I've been trying to keep up with Blue Beetle and its trajectory. Um, so just a quick recap. So last week we had this thing where we finally dropped the trailer for Blue Beetle, and in my opinion, it looked really good. All right, the costume looked great, and I think that's something that we have an issue with a lot of comic book movies is that they usually alter sometimes the costume where it's unrecognizable or it's too CGI heavy. This one looks really good. It has the practical effects right in place. It looks good, and then it's got the CGI for the pack, so things when it transforms and stuff, it doesn't look crazy. It doesn't look too fake, right? Because no matter how good the CGI is, some the lighting on rough textures is very hard to duplicate. So anyways, I'm pretty excited. I thought it was going to be pretty good. Most of the time, I heard some people were saying kind of mid. I think most people were just kind of confused on superhero. Um, but this superhero has been having a lot of success in other mediums. Injustice, Young Justice, some of the movies that he's been in, he's been well received by younger audiences. So, in my opinion, I think that he is going to succeed. Now, I think that there's still kind of people. One of the things I kept hearing, one of the critiques was they kept bringing up Shazam 2. Uh, I don't think I think this is going to be better than Shazam 2. I feel like this is the family element feels a lot more authentic in this movie than it did in Shazam. Shazam it kind of felt a little bit forced. So I think that this is going to be a good film. I honestly think that there's a lot of underestimation on it as well. What else did I think was good about it? Um, I liked so I thought it was going to be funny as well. Like they were doing some George Lopez is in it. Oh, there was some backlash on that last line, but to clarify, guys, George Lopez is like an uncle that's supposed to be a conspiracy theorist, and that's why that line was in there. I did think the line was a little bit out of place, but whatever. Um, and other than that, I've been hearing some talk about like something about uh the director said something about Trump so many years ago. Like to me, that's not valid criticism. You're not really validating the art. You're kind of you know the person, right? It's like you're people are making it personal. So, anyways, to me that doesn't really bother me. It's not like he's doing anything crazy right now. So, anyways, um, so yeah, good movie. So that made the book spike. So Infinite Crisis 5 spiked. It was selling like hotcakes. Uh, not a whole lot, not higher than the where it was during the pandemic boom, but it's creeping up there as well. And so it did end up on some of the top 10 lists, but a lot of the doubt that I hear was, one that the movie wasn't going to be that great, but I think it's just kind of a misunderstanding of what Blue Beetle is and how successful Blue Beetle really has been. And I'm gonna let you guys know something, man. And I know that there's like a language barrier, so sometimes language barriers kind of separate us from another world. But a lot of the Latin pages that I follow, that follow pop culture and stuff like that, they're buzzing, dude. Latin America social media is buzzing with Blue Beetle hype. And even if Blue Beetle, let's say that it is kind of a mid movie here in the United States, I feel like it's the international box office is going to be pretty significant because I think a lot of people are really excited for a Latino superhero. So that's why I'm saying this book is being underrated. Some of the criticism on the book I've heard is that the book keeps coming back and forth, up and down on the list. But if we remember with Ultimate Fallout 4, it was like that for a while. It would come on the list, it'd go away, come back on the list, it'd go away, and it just kept going doing this until it was like bubbly. And it was weird because it was seemed to be like this downward pressure on the book. Like nobody wanted to admit that they were speculating on this book. There was a lot of criticism on Miles that wasn't really valid. And even after the success of the Across the Spider-Verse or whatever, it didn't really hit, like it didn't really take off. It wasn't until they announced the Sony video game that they said, "Hey, this is gonna be this the Miles is here to stay." And it was at that moment that that book took off. So, in my opinion, I still kind of feel like this book is kind of bubbling there, and I think it's going there. Like it's coming back, it's going forward. Now, we also had some other speculation this week. We had Spider-Boy #7, the first appearance of a Spider-Boy. Interesting character, okay? And I say interesting because of what they decided to do with the hero. Supposedly he is canon. Like he is a canon from the Silver Age. He's been a sidekick from a long time, whatever, created by Dan Slott. Now, I myself do not have a whole lot of faith in this book, mostly because I think we saw it coming, and I think a lot of books that are seen coming from a long way, and there's people who are pushing it, don't they usually peak very early, and uh, and 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 there's a lot of reasons why I don't think that this specific hero is going to make it, but most of all because the market wants predictability. Like the market wants to know what's going to be the next hot book, and you'll see a lot of the big market players you know, try to, jockey for position because they want to know what's the next one. And that's why you'll see a lot of tendencies to people trying to influence the market or people even trying to manipulate the market. People want that predictability. Um, and that's why you see a lot of ratio variance, a lot of ratios and a lot of limited print exclusive market exclusive prints because people want that predictability. They want that scarcity. That's why you see this, right? Because you can if you can predict on it, you can get ready for it and you can capitalize on it. And that's what seemed to be happening with Spider Boy because Dan Slott was promoting on his social media everywhere that this book was coming. This book was coming. And if we look at some of the prices where it last sold, you'll see that this book is uh, plenty. There is plenty of copies of this. There is no scarcity to this book. All right. No one's holding on to this book. If people having it, they are looking for a quick transfer. They're trying to dump it right now. Right. Most people who do have it, they're trying to dump it right now. At least that's the way it looks like because there is plenty of supply out there. Um, and you're starting to see some of the parts where you're starting to see other books starting to go crazy, like the Spider Boy. There's a Spider Boy that's like from 1996. It was kind of like a crossover spoof Spider Boy. It's like a Superboy Spider-Man crossover, Carnage Bizarre crossover. So that book's been picking up today. Like today, you've been seeing a lot of like traffic for that. And if you guys are wondering which book it is, I posted it on my Instagram. I just posted up a reel for it. It was kind of like a spoof reel or whatever. And that book's starting to see a lot of movement as well. Other things that you'll start seeing as well is that they've already have a like the 300 homage cover and also the I think it's called a torrent, like the one where he's like the gold, the black one where he's kind of like crouching on a spider web is a Todd McFarlane one. So they already planning on that as well. Like I said, the market loves predictability and they love homages as well. I know there's a certain people in the collectors market who get those 300 homages no matter what. So obviously they're going to be pushing those out now while the book is still hot and try to get those pre-sales and pre-orders while the hype is high right now. And to me, I do not personally think that the we just met this guy as Spider Boy. I don't think he's earned homage covers yet. I don't think he's earned that kind of treatment yet. But here we are. In my opinion, I think he's just kind of a knockoff of Miles Morales. Like they even gave him like the sneakers, but they're not like Miles has the Air not the Air Force, the Air Jordan ones, and then this guy has like I don't know what they are. But they're like they kind of remind me of the Adidas Kobe ones. They just kind of look like big bricks on his feet. And so I feel like he's kind of knockoff, and also because he's a sidekick. That pretty much saying that he's a sidekick, and we all know that sidekicks have their caps, unless they grow into something else like Nightwing and stuff. But I don't see Spider Boy going into that. So a lot of this I think is kind of uh, like manufacture a lot of hype, and I think the market was looking to speculate on something. And I feel like one of the reasons that Spider Boy did take off it was because of Blue Beetle. I think a lot of people were ready for it. Blue Beetle picked up, and the market was kind of primed. Um, those of you guys who are unfamiliar with priming, it's kind of this is I don't know if you guys heard of like the Pavlov's dog thing, where people are kind of conditioned for a certain reason, for certain conditions. And I think we've been conditioned to see the Marvel speculation, to see Marvel as the main speculation, right? And DC, we've been kind of conditioned to say that does never pan out. So, um, in a way, that's kind of what happened here. People were not willing to speculate on Blue Beetle. People are still kind of cautious on that because it's DC. However, here comes a Marvel book. You know, let's go all in on that. We want to speculate on something, so let's speculate on something else. And another reason we also had a Star Wars book blow up and all that stuff. So we have a lot of speculation. Obviously, people want to speculate on something, just not Blue Beetle. But I think that people are resisting Blue Beetle but I think in a way Blue Beetle is going to creep up, and I think it's going to come to a point where Blue Beetle is going to establish himself and is like, hey, if this movie's a success, Blue Beetle is going to be here to stay. Then people are going to be willing to, okay, we're going to accept Blue Beetle. We're going to accept Jaime Reyes. So right now, I don't know. It's just that it's in that weird period where it's being like we see it coming, but we don't want it to come, And but if you guys have been keeping up with my channel, then you guys know I'm all about the Blue Beetle. I love Blue Beetle. I love this character, and I'm really excited with what they're going to be doing with this. So if you have a couple copies, like if you've been listening to me, like you've probably been picking up a copies along the way. If you want to sell one now, I think you probably definitely get your money's worth for all of them because when I started picking them up, I was picking them up for like $3 to $4. I was finding them in back issue bins. So if you sell one, you make your money back, and then you can just sit on the other ones, and you can sell them all at the movie, after the movie, whatever. So, anyways, my opinion, I'd rather have Infinite Crisis 5 um, yeah, any time of the day. And I think that it is working to the benefit of people who have Infinite Crisis 5 or even want Infinite Crisis 5 because of this weird suppression where you where the FOMO market kind of went squirrel on Spider Boy, and I think that that's kind of working into the favor of Infinite Crisis 5 because that means it's riding a little bit more under the radar. So, in my opinion, it's kind of like a spring, right? You try to squish that spring, try to squish it, squish it, squish it, suppress it, suppress it, suppress it, suppress it by speculating on everything except what is coming. Eventually, that spring, it's gonna go. And that's what we saw with Miles Morales. People were suppressing Miles. They didn't want Miles to happen. They weren't ready for him to happen. And then it got to a point where they could no longer. They were like, okay, yeah, Miles is here to stay. So I think we are going to be in for a moment. So we are reaching the 15-minute mark. Watching this on the rewind. Appreciate it. Let me know, what do you think is a better spec book, Spider-Man 7 or Infinite Crisis 5? And or neither one. Maybe you're like, they both suck. Let me know in the comments down below. Until then, thank you guys for everything. And you guys stay tuned. I'll probably be uploading a video. I just bought a new book from Shortbox, my first Shortbox purchase. I'll let you guys know how that goes. And as always, first week of the month, you'll be seeing me do some Poison Ivy. And I'll be doing a giveaway for the next Poison Ivy as well. So if you missed the last one, Don't forget to come in and check in for the next one because I might be giving out something dope. All right, guys, you guys take care and yeah, be good, man. Take care.